So yesterday I worked self-checkout, which is not my primary job, not my secondary job. So let's call it my tertiary job. Like always, it sucked to deal with those folks, but I'm also grateful that it just so happened to be the anomaly schedule. I'm never scheduled for it, but yesterday I just had to. And given my condition physically, it was probably a good thing that things worked out the way they did. It helped me accrue more instances, more memories of why I say that I like my job. I just hate the people and how easily distracted, absent minded, overwhelmed, and unnecessarily ignorant, as someone once said in the comments, they are. I want to highlight two instances, the two that I remember the most. I know there was a third one that I was trying to tell my boyfriend about, but I just couldn't remember. The first instance was someone was asking me how to scan an item that you have to use the lookup button for, because it's one of those items that does not have a barcode on it because there's no packaging. You don't put loose nuts, for instance. You don't put stickers on those. Imagine if every piece of pecan had a sticker on it. Or say if you have an apple. Sure, they tend to have stickers, but there's the occasional one that doesn't have it. If you're holding a green apple that doesn't have a packaging, doesn't come in a box, doesn't come in a plastic wrap, doesn't have a barcode, then you know to use the lookup button. Examples like that. But here's the catch. You have to know how to spell. And I had someone asking me how to look up zucchini because it wasn't coming up on the screen. And what happened was she spelled out Zucchini and squash. She spelled that all out, but it wasn't coming up because you were missing a C. So what I did was press the delete button for you to erase characters, and when it spelled ZUC, it already displayed the only two options you have. And of course, I clicked on it. And she was like, oh, so it works if you key in the first three letters? And I'm like, no, it works as soon as you see the item suggested to you. You just click on it once you identify the item that you have in front of you. Other times I have people grab something and they forget what it is or don't know what it is. I'm like, okay, what is this? And they are like, I don't know. I just grabbed it because it looked cool, talking about dragon fruit. And I deliberately ask people about rare items just to see if they're absent-minded. I'll just troll them without them knowing. I'm like, oh, okay, you grabbed this. What is this? You don't know what kind of squash this is and you're just grabbing it. Maybe this is why people end up ingesting detergent, because you don't read. I saw them trying to scan. While they were trying to scan, they were also asking me, so how do I do this? And then I said, search button, key in what you have, and then press enter. And that's one of those things that I'm sure they have run into before. This is not your first time using this machine, but somehow when you see a person, an employee close to you, you just feel compelled to dumb yourself down by 100% and reach out. Like if you don't see something having a barcode, why is it that your first instinct isn't to look it up? It's evident that this is an item that naturally cannot have a barcode on it. So why is it that you don't think about just trying to look it up and going about it? But this next one is the one that really pisses me off. There was a lady using the machine that's immediately next to me, and I was doing my best to maintain my foot raised as much as possible. I had this lady immediately next to me go, can I put the item in the bag before scanning it? And then I said to myself, I cannot believe I just heard that. So I said, I suggest that you scan before you bag. That's all I said. I didn't even look at her. I just could not look at her. I just kept staring into the horizon. And I just said, yeah, just scan before you bag. And I kept monitoring everybody else. And that is the kind of bullshit that I hate. Why is it that adults are like that? Did the phone do this to you? Did living in isolation do this to you? Do you just want to have an interaction with somebody? No matter who it is, even if it's a stranger to you, that is an incredible, high quality time. What happened that made you be this stupid? And the worst part about it is that I feel like that stupidity transfers over to other areas of our lives, especially politics. It almost feels like if you're not stupid, and by extension, your stupidity is entertaining, then you're not doing your job because people want to be entertained nowadays. But someone like me, I look at that as absolute utter incompetence. And the worst part about people at self checkout drowning in a puddle is that I look at it as these are my neighbors, these are the persons who surround me, and pretty much all of them are in a better situation than I am, particularly socioeconomically. Those are the ones I'm supposed to be jealous of. Those are the ones I'm supposed to envy. Those are the ones I'm supposed to look up to. Those are the people this country has to count on if something happened to us domestically. And finally, another thing I had someone tell me, which this isn't related to the job, right? But it's a comment someone made to me, was when some lady needed help. I think it was I had to approve her alcohol purchase. When I came over, she was like, "You have beautiful hair." And I just said, "Thank you." And I kept doing my thing on the screen, keying what I had to key. And as I was doing that, she was like, "I used to pay good money to get my hair to look close to what yours looks like. And it only lasted me 6 weeks." And I said, "You're all set. Have a good one." I didn't entertain that. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, okay, well, I already said thank you for your compliment. I have nothing else to add, nothing else to say to you, no matter how much you're talking about that." When people start talking about what they spend money on, especially if it's something that's quantifiably high, I look at it as having a physical complex, being unhappy with yourself, having a physical low self esteem is very expensive. And it's one of those things that I never grew up feeling like I was attractive. To this day, I still think that I'm average or slightly below average. But I just enjoyed the fact that as I was growing up and my perception of myself changed to where I think of myself as I am averagely good looking. And what I mean by that is I look good to myself because when I dress up and look in the mirror, I'm like, I love that I'm living exactly as I am. I'm not stressing myself over makeup, which I don't know how to apply anyway, and I never cared to try to get better at it. I learned to live without complexes of, say, my eyebrow, for instance. I'm not trying to hide that. And the clothes that I wear represent me, for I am simple, therefore I am always going to dress simply. And no matter how much pressure I have gotten from other people, such as, "When are you gonna let me do your makeup?" That's what one colleague said to me years ago, and she said it, I want to say 2 more times. You would look a whole lot prettier if you dressed better, or if you wore blouses and stuff. I never allowed for those things to influence me. Someone like this lady who was spending so much money on hair, I wonder, is this something that you wanted because you were not happy with yourself? Or did someone influence you into getting that? Say, someone curled your hair one time, you loved it, and then you said, "Unless I have curly hair, I'm unacceptable." And I, for instance, the first time I saw my hair straight, that's when I said, "Oh, wow, I'm actually kind of hot when I have my hair straight." But just because that is the ideal image of me when it comes to considering myself attractive to me, I thought of it as it's just a pain. I can't get it wet. it also means that I have to literally cook my hair for it to look like this and all those things. And I said, that is as unhealthy as smoking. That is as unhealthy as being sedentary. That is as unhealthy as being involved with people who are not good for you. Why would I do that? Why would I do that to myself? Why would I pay the costliest price, which is my health and wellness, being compromised? And I guess that's where my lack of feeling inferior comes from. Because I don't feel it at all. The way that you guys see me, sometimes with like my buns with all the flyaways and my hair all poofed up and frizzy and all that. Sometimes I have finished recording and I will go out and go to the store and pick up some shit and I'll just continue living my life without giving a damn. And I just wonder what it is that vanity does for people. I just cannot imagine a life in which vanity helps elevate me. What is it about you looking different, you dressing different, that changes you? And I have had my moments when I have participated in that. I have gotten my hair did, I have gotten my nails did, I have gotten dolled up and all that, worn the sandals, worn the pretty much fancy shit. And I never felt elegant. And even though I physically looked elegant and I knew I was elegant, I thought, this is just not me. This is not what I wear. It feels weird on my skin. I can't wait to get home and settle this on a hanger, stuff like that. I don't get it. I sincerely don't get it. So I just wish that I could meet someone who is willing to speak objectively about their vanity and maybe convince me, because there is one diva I know in my life who is all about that image and aesthetics. Actually, I know two people. One is a person closer to me in age, and another one is someone up there in age. But sometimes I feel like what is exciting to them is the materialistic element of it. The fact that they can say, I own these kinds of clothes. I own these kinds of shoes. I own these kinds of bags. I own and spend time caking my face up. But when it comes to them actually emotionally talking about how that is an experience that helps them with their identity, I don't hear any of that. The lady who's older that I'm thinking about, all she says is, this is what I need to do to look good and feel good. And I'm like, okay, define what feeling good for you is. Does the makeup conceal injury? Does the makeup help you lose weight? Does the clothing make you want to go to the gym or something? Or is it that you want to wear that stuff because you know you'll provoke a reaction out of people? Say, people saying, your shirt is really nice, all this and that. You're fishing for those compliments. When someone compliments you, that is literally all that your character has. That is what defines you. And that is the only time you can entertain a conversation. That is the way to bond with you. Because outside of those things, you are no one. You are nothing. You have nothing going on for yourself. You have no personality. And the personality that you have revolves around those things, the fashion. Does that make sense? It's really something difficult for me to describe because, again, I want to have more meaningful connections with these people regarding what they like, which is vanity, but I just can't because that is not my territory. I don't fit in to that. Therefore, I don't try to. I don't pretend to. But just because I don't belong to that doesn't mean I don't wish to understand it. And I'm just sad that the sources I could have to explain it to me are disconnected from it themselves, that they cannot explain it to me the way I need it to be explained to me to understand it. But maybe vanity is something so meaningless that it is impossible for someone to give it value. Maybe that's why they cannot talk to me about exactly what it is that it does for them, the value they see behind it. But anyway, I know who I am and what I am, and I am not changing. I just like for people to do their thing and be happy, but I just think it's weird that the so called thing that makes you happy, you'll criticize it and you'll make it feel like a curse. Say, these people who get dolled up, they feel compelled to do that because at some point they were bullied in their lives over their appearance. I was bullied too, but I didn't turn out like that. I didn't feel the pressure to be doing things to my face or dress a certain way. That pressure, why did you succumb to that pressure? How is it that we're different? That's just me. I'm trying to understand it because if you're truly happy with what you're doing, you wouldn't criticize it. You wouldn't be like, today I had to show up without wearing any makeup because I just wasn't in the mood or I just didn't have time, stuff like that. See, your hobby costs you something. It's not a sustainable practice. But then all of a sudden, when you stop doing that, it's as if you're asking to be celebrated for something so simple. Celebrate me for going out into the streets fresh faced. Celebrate me for going out on a t shirt and sweatpants and tennis shoes. And I'm like, bitch, I've been doing that all the time. Where's my celebration? Where are my prices? And that's what I'm saying. If you were truly legitimately satisfied by these things you're doing, you would never ever get sick of it. And that's what I'm saying. I'm never sick of looking like this, of having this, of wearing this. So I look at myself as living true to myself. But some other people, I worry that because they don't live true to themselves, that's why they are hurting personally and emotionally. It's as if you still don't know who you are and you want to live with complexity because you like the idea of it, but you hate the maintenance of it. You should be on board with the entire package. Say, if you like to travel, but you don't like to fly, or you don't like to drive long distance, then you don't like to travel. Liking traveling should encompass the entire experience. Your vacation doesn't start the moment that you reach your destination. The way I see it, the vacation starts the moment you start planning for it. That moment that you get your days approved off, pretty much, and you start shopping for the tickets or servicing your vehicle or renting one, whatever you're doing, the moment you start packing, pretty much. I associate the absolute beginning of my vacation the day that I'm packing for it. And then I'm taking off either the same day or the next day. I don't pack days in advance. I pack either the hours prior to the trip or on the same day. That's how I did it for my 4 days off this time around. I packed an hour before departure. That's when I told myself, okay, vacation has started. To me, the vacation includes everything, whether you get stuck in traffic, whether you have a little argument with someone, whether you lose something or misplace something or injure yourself. All of that is part of the vacation. And that's why the way I absorb things, I always feel satisfied even when an experience wasn't extraordinary. And sometimes I feel like people expect so much that they can't live in the moment. So whatever high bar you have, try to set it lower. Set your expectations lower. And I promise you that I think you'll have more holistic experiences. But again, that's just me, that's just my opinion. And I guess the way I grew up seeing people in disagreements often and how easily it could have been avoided if one person just shut up, maybe that's where my attitude in the present comes from. I had to witness those things to be like, people wasting time on their appearance is bad. People acting like they're going to have access to the same comfort that they have at home is bad. So learn to adapt to being uncomfortable. And then experiencing natural disasters like storms and things. Okay, I can expect that sometimes the water's gonna be out, the electricity's gonna be out. So what do I do? Those things, I guess those things prepared me for a future of adversity. And I just didn't realize it until I got to this point. And I see myself versus others and how easily it is to upset others and how my tolerance is just different. It's higher. And the favors that does to me, I think that's why I like to harp on it so much. Just take the time to be quiet, to look inward and be like, why do I do the things that I do? And ultimately, what does it do for me? Are you a smoker? Do you legitimately like every aspect of it? Do you like to stink? Do you like your teeth looking yellow? Do you like coughing? Things like that? Okay, then you genuinely were designed to be a smoker. But if it doesn't even make you attractive, if it makes you smell bad, and that is a consequence that you abhor about it, then let it go. Quit it. It's not doing as much for you as you think it is. So, anyways, you guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I thought I would share this because I, of course, very often talk about the negative things that happen to me or that I see because it's genuinely the most fun I have with topics, but also because me associating with people is something that's no secret, challenging, and it's challenging because, again, I will be judgmental. I want for something to take part in my life if it's good for me, if it's beneficial for me. But if it's something frustrating or bringing me down or trying me, challenging me in a way that doesn't help me grow, then I close the door on it. Period. And sometimes I wish that the people I know who are suffering would do that and simplify their lives at least for like a year and pick up yourself, recover, go back to what you're used to, but just learn to not be influenced. Learn to be harder to impress, I guess. Okay, that's it. Bye.